All right, let's dive right into one of the most mind-bending questions you can ask. We're going to explore an idea that really challenges everything we think we know about time, reality, and where it all came from. So, yeah, get ready for a little perspective shift. I mean, really think about that. We're so used to things having a beginning, right? A starting point, a first chapter. But what if the story of everything doesn't have a page one? That's it. A core perspective from the Gita is that the universe is, well, beginningless. It has always been here in some way, shape, or form. And I know what you're thinking. How is that even possible? Well, the key, the absolute key, is to understand that reality isn't just one thing. It's actually two. To really get this, we have to break down this fundamental distinction. Everything, and I mean everything, falls into one of two buckets: the one that is watching and everything else that is being watched. So let's lay them out side by side. On one hand, you have the observer. You can call it Brahman. This is the eternal, conscious, the only real thing there is, the absolute truth. And then on the other hand, you have everything else, the entire universe, your body, your mind, all of it. This is the observed. And here's the kicker. It's described as being fundamentally inert, lifeless, and ultimately just an appearance. So here's where the paradox clicks into place. The observer, Brahman, is beginningless because it's the absolute truth. It exists outside of time altogether. But the universe, the observed, is also beginningless for a totally different reason. Since it's just an appearance, like an illusion, it never really began in the first place. It just is. Okay. But if the whole universe, our bodies and minds included, is inert, that leads to a massive question. Where does life come from? Where does this feeling of being alive, this consciousness, actually come from? Well, the way it's laid out is that everything we see starts from this unmanifested state, a kind of potential made of three qualities: purity, energy, and matter. From that potential, 5 basic building blocks emerge: space, air, fire, water, and earth. And every single thing in the universe is just a different recipe, a different combination of these 5 blocks. Which, brings us right back to our big question. If everything is just a mashup of these 5 lifeless ingredients, what makes a person different from a rock? And here is the absolutely beautiful answer. That feeling of being alive, of being sentient, it isn't something your body or mind actually owns. It's a reflection. It's the light of the one true observer, Brahman, shining on the material world. Your mind is basically just a mirror, catching that light. We actually have a perfect modern analogy for this. Think about a robot with AI. The machine itself is just metal, plastic, wires. It's inert. But the intelligence it shows off, it's all borrowed. It's programmed in. In the exact same way, we're all walking around with a borrowed consciousness, a reflection from the one true source. And, not all mirrors are created equal. Some are foggy, some are clear. Just like you can polish a piece of brass to a brilliant shine, the quality of the mind's reflection can be improved. When a mind is more aligned with that quality of purity, it becomes a much clearer, brighter mirror for consciousness to reflect in. Okay, so we've been talking about the big cosmic picture. Let's bring this right down to you and me. What happens when this reflected light of consciousness shines into a human mind? Because in human beings, something extra happens, something really special. This borrowed, reflected consciousness gains a capacity that nothing else in the observed universe has. It can look at its own reflection and mistake it for the real thing. The reflection completely forgets it's just a reflection and starts to think it's the source of the light. And that right there is the birth of the individual I, the ego. So, you see, the ego isn't some big, mysterious thing. It's a simple combination, really. It's the inert hardware of your body and mind, powered up by the reflected light of the true observer. And this ego, this, becomes the main character in the story of our lives. It's the I who does things, who makes choices, who feels all the pleasure and all the pain. Thinking about it this way can totally change how we see our lives. Our successes and failures aren't just personal wins and losses, but part of a much, much bigger cosmic play. So, you might be wondering, if our ego is the one doing everything, what about the original observer? What's Brahman's role in all this? Yeah, what exactly is the observer's job description here? Does it just sit back and watch the show? Is it involved in our lives at all? There's this fantastic analogy that makes it crystal clear. Picture a king, right? A really powerful one. He might not personally do anything. He doesn't need to. But his ministers run the entire kingdom, and they only have that power because he is the king. His very presence, his authority, empowers all the action without him ever lifting a finger. And that, right there, is the role of Brahman. It's the silent, non-participating witness. Its mere existence is what lights up the whole universe, allowing the entire cosmic drama to happen. It's the power behind the throne. So let's pull all these threads together. What does this grand picture of a beginningless universe actually look like when you put it all together? It's spelled out so clearly in the Gita. Material nature, that's the observed, and the living entities are both to be understood as beginningless. They're two eternal realities, locked in this endless, beautiful dance of reflection and appearance, consciousness and matter, just playing out forever. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought to reflect on. If the ego that you call you is the one doing all the acting and feeling and living, then what is the silent, eternal observer within you actually watching? What does it see?